Welcome back to Conversations with Yemi and Bimbo Davids. We've been talking with our daughter, and we've been talking about PKs, pastors' kids, preachers' kids.
Conversations.
She talked about keeping our children private at a season of their lives. And it's something that we didn't know, and we had to, start talking about it. That I think we exposed our children maybe too early, especially on social media. Well, not unintentionally, as in it was expression of family pictures and all, but we later realized that maybe we are exposing them too early, so people know about them. So recently I took down a lot of, especially on social media, a lot of their pictures, because I felt, what, do they even want it in the first place? Not everybody wants to be out there, or maybe they're not ready to be out there. The expectations are more because people know them well. We've gotten to that place where people, of course, know some of our kids. We talk about them a lot as well because we love them and we value them as well. But we also need to keep asking ourselves, talking about the fact that what are the consequences of the things that we do? You said, so when so I guess the lesson for us is that at a certain point, of course, people will know our children, but it's better they know them when they have come of age to a level,
Yeah.
or when they understand, certain things. So even when they're making decisions, taking steps individually, they have grown. We've built the children up to the point where, people will know you, people will check you out, but be yourself, enjoy yourself.
I think also one thing, I think Daddy and you have definitely reduced on this. Maybe like reduce sharing children's our stories on the altar. Because I feel like that also can add to the expectation. Because you can say, oh, my daughter got so many awards, so awards. And I know, like, for example, that itself is a testimony. I'd rather it be like an anonymous testimony sent to the altar rather than, okay, they know, oh, my first daughter did this, my second daughter did this. And it's like, people are just hearing only the positive stuff that we are doing.
So
And
there's a
sometimes-
pressure to meet up with
yeah, and
that.
sometimes they come to us and we're like, oh, congratulations. And I'm like, yes, thank you. But because they already have an idea of, oh, maybe she's very academic, and and I'm not
So
perfect.
they're keeping track. They're keeping
Yes.
track of the children because of the things we've said.
Yes.
And it's not every time that they will get their awards. It's not every time that they will have and it's so what she's saying is so important because we do it. Of course, we've reduced it because we didn't know in time or earlier. But then we started realizing that, some of the things we share, especially for us that are pastors in public space, it's also putting them under pressure to meet up. So we talk about, like she said, talk about the things they did, achievements, like testimonies, but unconsciously for them as well, they want to meet up, keep up with that. And when they don't meet up, which sometimes they don't, did we not all, even me, I wasn't as brilliant as she is, but there was no social media, nobody knew. I don't give a heck, you don't give a heck about my academic achievements. But now, because we've said some of these things, she has to be, oh, what if they're tracking me, they're checking it, and that. It's okay when maybe it's coming from a neutral place,
Yeah.
maybe like a school sharing it. Not everybody will know your school or follow, but when it's us saying it publicly, then the pressure is higher. So that's a lesson for us and all.
Conversations.
I think another thing is also the fact that your children will have a social life. They should have a social life. I remember when they were, especially for her as a firstborn, when she was younger, it was, that's why I keep going back to my own parents. The initial thought for me was, behave, when you go out, behave, your friends, I'm checking out their friends and things like that. And then I remember that for me growing up, I was free. I could bring my friends home, whether they were Christians or not. We had, I had a social life. But is that the same for you?
I think it's definitely harder to have a social life as a PK, especially in Africa. I was going to say because of the pressure on the pastors that also falls on the children, just the high pedestal that Africans put on pastors and their family, which is not wrong, but it can also really damage the children's social life. Either they are scared to bring their friends over or to show their real self because of their relationship with their parents, or it's just people in the public because they know them going like it's quite hard to have this
Can
full
you?
social
I really
robust social
I want
life.
you to talk about that because a lot of pastors' children. I've spoken. I know a lot of. We have conversations around that, and sometimes parents are scared genuinely
Yeah.
because there is that standard and there is that expectation for them, for their children. You know what? We love God. We made mistakes. We don't want you to make mistakes we've made. We want you to love God and serve God. Of course, we also know the impact of peer pressure.
Yeah.
There are people that have, especially pastors, like you said, it's a reality. The standard will be higher, expectations will be higher, and then you hear a pastor's kid meeting this particular person and getting into certain things, and you're wondering, you know what? Let me just put some control.
I
So,
think
what would you say? What would
I
say
think it
we should?
also boils down to just the relationship the children have with the parents. Because I know a lot of African parents are strict, but I feel like a lot of African parents are strict, but it really doesn't make sense why like the strictness doesn't make sense because there's no communication. So you're strict, but your children don't know why you're strict, so they'll end up acting worse than you even thought they could act because you're just strict for no reason. You're not communicating
You
why
know what you
like
just said? African parents will fight you like, doesn't make sense. What do you mean by it doesn't make
because you
sense?
say don't go out. Okay, why am I not going out? Just go to your room, Joe. Or like, why are you on your phone? I want to talk to my friends. Why are you always on your phone? Why are you always like it doesn't like we understand their fears because especially now as I'm older, I can see the fears more and I can understand the fears. But when it's not communicated, it's just like, what are you doing? Like we won't understand what you're doing. You won't understand us, and that's where the relationship breaks down. I think it's also more evident with pastors' children, especially in Africa, because the pastor will tell them don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and they're not explaining why.
So it's like
And
sets of instructions, rules,
exactly.
rules, rules.
And they go to school and see their other mates doing the stuff and it's nothing is happening to them. They are still alive. They are still going to school. They are still doing well. So why are you telling me not to do it? So of course they will act out and of course they will hide it from their parents and the parents will not be shocked. I feel like parents shouldn't be shocked when their children act out because there's always a root. Always a root.
Yeah,
And
it's coming from, yeah.
yes, there's no surprise. There's no child that will just say I'll do this bad thing for no reason. There's no child that will do that.